Okay, so it had some time to dry overnight, and we're ready to move on. That's what I like about the Elmer's glue. It really hides up nice. Remember, there was a lot of the glue. We cleaned it off, but there was still quite a bit, but it's looking pretty good. And it's sturdy too. I'm not saying you can nail something to this, but it is pretty sturdy. So we're gonna move on, and I want to show you guys what I had done. When it comes to the railings, you can see there are two layers of the railings. The thinner one goes on first, and it's going to be glued to the posts, actually the ribs. And then there's another one that goes on top, but that one's a little bit thicker. Now, to try to fit the pieces on, let me show you. Because the instructions are very vague, and they're going to go like this onto the posts. So what I was thinking was, instead of trying to do this and line it up, it might be a little bit easier to glue them first. I'm not saying anything special. I'm saying just to hold them together. And that's what I had done with the bottom layer. So let's take a look and see if it's ready. I think some of the glue went onto the paper. So what I did was, you can see I glued it together so it'll be a little bit easier to work with. So now when we put it on, it's going to rest just like this onto the posts, and it'll be a little bit easier to work with. That's why I basically did it, because it's going to be we want something that's going to be, well, manageable. Let's see, might fit better that way, but when we glue it down, we're going to weight it down. So I figure we do it this way, it'll be easier. I'm going to do the same thing with the other pieces. Let me show you the other pieces because they're larger. And we'll clean them up. We'll glue them together and it'll be easier. I was thinking about putting this one together and then gluing it onto this one before we put it on there. But I want to keep this one a single layer because I want to keep it just a bit flexible, because when we put it onto here, you can see, make sure that these all are going to line up and glue it into place. We're going to have to weight it down just to keep it pressed, and then it'll be easier to shape this into the shape it needs to glue on, rather than do two. So we'll keep it thinner and we'll be ready to move on. So when it comes to the instructions, there are two pieces that are going to go on either the stern section on either side and the back. So you can see how they're going to go on. Again, this is a little vague. It doesn't really have the best illustrations on what to do, and even on the model itself, you don't really see where those pieces are going to go. Like that. So I'm thinking it's going to abut up against the rib. And we're going to put them onto the deck right there. But because there are actually no markings, I'm thinking that they're going to go just like this. Like that, whereas the Elmer's glue is much more forgiving. So let's put some on just like that. And on either side, and it's going to go just like that. And again, we got to make sure that it's on the inside, because the that strip for the cannon has to go on the outside. And it's just the slightest curve of them coming inside. Okay, so I'm gonna have to keep it like this. So why don't we can put this up against the case. All right, we're gonna let that dry. Let's see, what should we take care of now? So that's all set. Why don't we go ahead and we're going to take the side strips now. Let's put this aside so nothing happens to it. And we're going to see the side strips. And the way they're going to line up is, you can see the little indentation is going to go with the aft end of the ship. So let's see, we may be able to just, yeah, these come off relatively simply. And all we got to do is clean them up a bit. How it's going to go, let me see if I can handle this yet. I don't want these to fall over. But this is going to go just like that. And it's going to wrap around. See, we're not going to need a ton of glue for this part. Just enough to coat. Okay, that looks pretty good. Why don't we go ahead and put some glue. Just some solidifying glue. Okay, so it had some time to dry. And you can see, despite my mishap, it's together. Again, this one is so very fragile. You can see how they're going to overlap each other. They're going to go like that. All right. So this is what the hull of the ship is going to rest on. And there's two of those. And you can see where they're going to be glued into position. So why don't we go ahead and put this together real quick. Just because I really do want something to rest the ship on, instead of putting the keel into the pliers where it could be damaged. So let's go ahead and so we'll let that solidify. So you can see we're gonna put some there, and I'm gonna put some on each rib. more. You got to make sure that the opening of the deck opens up to where the cannon is going to go. Like that. So I hope you guys can see that. And again, it's got to be level with the deck. Like that. And put one over there. And keep it going down. It looks like we got to come down just a bit. Actually, gonna need some more glue. And because of I don't have a ton of these clamps. I only got 5 of them, so we can do one side at a time. We can do the other side when this one dries, but I want to put some glue on the bow section. Just like that. And where is that going to go? It's going to go right about there somewhere. All right. And the last clamp is going to go right onto that. Just like that, up against. So you can see, hopefully that's straight. And like I said, I've only got 5 of these clamps, so we're going to have to do this side first, and then we'll do the other side. Let me show you guys the inside. You know, this is probably why we put this one on first, because this one is a little bit smaller, and it's going to go on the inside to form the rim on top of the ribs. And when we put the other one on, we'll have kind of a guide to rest that onto. And hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Putting some glue to reinforce the where the wall is going to go up against the ribs. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Let's put this aside for a minute. It had overnight to dry. I don't think we're going to need these anymore because we've got the stand. You see the stand had some time to dry. And, okay, let's see if the glue held. So here's the moment of truth. We're going to unclamp. So far, so good. So far, so good. Check it out. Looking good. We're going to do this side now. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to glue all the sides, and it's going to go right out to the back. And we're going to clamp it. And it's going to go like that. So why don't we, first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue everything. And then we're going to clamp everything into place. Okay, so there. And we're going to start from the opposite end this time. Well, the same end. We're going to start in the back, but on the opposite side. This, of course, being the port side, and you can see where it's going to line up. And we also have the guide of the floor of the deck, because that's where it needs to go. So and we're going to line it up as we go along. Again, with the the floor of the deck, just like that. So let's put a couple more clamps. All right, so we got it clamped in place. Looks like there's a little bit of a gap over there. That looks pretty good. And you want to make sure that it's even in the front. That looks good. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and we're going to glue some more. We're going to put some reinforcing glue shots. There. That looks pretty good. Got that little reinforcing shot of glue that we put in. And like I said, what's good about the Elmer's glue is when it dries, let me show you the side that's done. It really is pretty good at disappearing. Okay, so it's been a while. So why don't we go ahead. We can think about taking the clamps off. Look at that. It's starting to look like a ship now. Look at that, huh? Looking pretty good. And the stand is ready, but I don't think we're going to be able to use it only because you can see how, well, maybe. You can see what it's going to look like in the stand. But I think what we're going to do now is we're going to work on putting the rails up and bringing the top of the hull and finishing it off. So let me dry fit it into place and show you guys. We're going to take the thinner one, and that's going to go just like this. And it's going to go just like that. And we got to go all the way around. We're going to take this part and make sure that this is nice and smooth. And let's put it in this way. So I'm thinking we might have to clamp this now. So let's clamp that right there. And we got to clamp that in the front. All right. See, the back seems okay. So we might have to clamp the other side too. So let's try to. All right. So you can see that looks pretty decent. Again, there's a lot of adjusting. Okay, so you can see how I was trying to get it to close all these gaps, but I think that's what this is going to do. When this gets overlaid on top, you can see how it's going to kind of hopefully bring everything together. I had to do a little bit of adjusting, so maybe it was not meant to go down, maybe it was meant to bring it up level. See how it's kind of level with the this part of the ship, and then we're going to overlay the other part on top. Okay, so we've had some time for this to glue, for the glue to dry, and we're going to take off the clamps. There. It's starting to look pretty decent. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, we're going to put that one on, and then the top part of the hull will actually be finished. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to really put the glue on this one really good for this section. There. We're going to put a nice, generous amount of glue in all the areas to keep the top piece in place. And like we've had to do pretty much so far, we're probably going to have to clamp it at some point. You can see we got a lot of glue. So let's go ahead and let's see. See, it looks flat on both sides until we go to lie it down. So maybe this would be the best. And my mistake, it actually doesn't go far enough to get to the back piece. So it's actually, that's going to look pretty cool. Like I said, we might have to clamp this part. I don't know if you can see at the bow. Push it down. Let's see if I can get that to stay like that. For the most part, it's pretty staying down. I don't really know if I have to clamp it. Okay, so it had overnight to dry. And let's put the knife aside. And let's take a look at what we got. You guys remember what I was telling you? I had wanted the glue to soak in, and that's exactly what it did. So all the glue got soaked into the top, and the layers actually made another kind of like the railing area for the ship. I'm not quite sure what that is. Let's get that out. I don't know if the camera saw that or not, but it was like little threads of the wood. Okay. You can see now we've got the top portion of the hull, the area where the cannons are going to be coming through. We got the basic structure. We're going to be planking this area in, and we're going to be planking up the hull, finishing off the hull in the next video. Okay, as of right now, this section is complete. All the bulkheads are in, the keel, we did the rudder, we put the strips on, we put the boat-shaped frames coming down to make up the railings, and we got the supports in. So what we're going to do now is we're ready to move on to this stage, and although it doesn't say it, you can see the ribs from the bulkheads, and then you look and everything is planked. So that's what we got to do. We have to plank, and it's weird how they wouldn't even suggest a way to do that. The next video, we're gonna be doing some planking. So hope you're having fun watching this, and it's pretty fun building it. This is the first for me. I never did it before. Okay, my friends, till the next video, I'll talk to you soon.